See if he does or he doesn't. Not sure, but don't hold your breath. Herman Moore might join us at any moment on the show, and if he does, that's amazing. But if he doesn't, it's still amazing because we got a great show. A lot of crazy stuff happening in sports. Of course, you have the East and West Coast championships, conference championships in the NBA and the NHL happening. 3 of the 4 teams actually in the NHL are from America. Well, I should say, because, we are in North America, but there is a delineation between the United States and Canada. And I think we're friends. I don't know. Hope we continue to be friends. All the people I know in Canada are nice, but might be a U.S. domination of NHL hockey in the playoffs. Now, what would be really sad is if the Canadian team won over the 3 U.S. teams, and then, all the Canadians, we'd have to hear about it for umpteen years. Either way, it's exciting. The NBA is also in full swing. That's an interesting proposition in the sense that the Knicks, the Pacers, the Thunder, are and the Timberwolves, not your typical participants in those finals. So all that means to me is you're going to get massively competitive championships, conference championship games, because they all want to get there. They all want the brass ring. We're going to do a little NFL news of note. A lot of crazy things happening in the NFL. Great discussions, though, about some of these topics. So we know a guy, Skip Kelly. He was at Oregon. Then he went to the NFL. Then he went back to UCLA. And now he's in Las Vegas with the Raiders. So Ashton Genty, of course, their number 1 pick. I thought this was funny. So Skip Kelly said, "Look, dude, you can't just stand straight up." Skip Kelly. Did I say Skip Kelly? Have I been saying Skip Kelly the whole time? Oh, his name's Chip. Hey, Chip. This is a Chip off the old block. I know. By the way, my apologies. I know who he is. It's just, sometimes my brain doesn't work right. Skip Kelly. Chip Kelly? Which one is it now? Now you got me thrown off, Martin. It's Chip Kelly. I have a relative named Skip. That's what's going through my brain right now. Anyways, Chip Kelly, massive respect for him. Just so you know, he just did a really cool thing when the players at the University of Utah tragically passed away, and it was one of those things where like no one was paying attention, no one noticed, but he did the right thing, and I always had tremendous respect for him from doing that. So he's now with the Raiders. He was at Ohio State. That's kind of a fun jump, let's go win a national championship, and then I'm going to go to the Raiders. And of course, it'd be really fun to coach with Pete Carroll. But so he's asked their new running back, Ashton Genty, to not stand up. And I thought this was funny. It's like, and I can get it because it's weird. Like one of the things that I've always known, and it's a kind of a joke with my kids now when I've coached them or whatever, and I don't know why it's a joke, but I said you need to get in an athletic stance, get ready to play, like you're doing, like you act like you're going to be there, which would probably drive me crazy too if I was Ashton Genty's coach, and you can't argue with the results, right? So it begs to the question of, do you mess around with stuff like that, right? Do you mess around with some guy's his stance, his whatever? My first day in the NFL, coach Gary Stevens, he was our offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, coached at Miami, really good guy, great coach. And Gary goes, we're in a meeting before my first practice. He goes, man, we got to get out on that field early because I got to fix you. and I got to fix how you take the snap. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm a rookie. I don't know anything. So I'm just sitting there going, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'll be out there as soon as the meeting's over. I'm out there. I'm on this. We go out on the field, and he goes, I've never coached a left-handed quarterback. I don't know how to do this. Like, you got to – maybe you should turn your hands the other way when you have your hands, under center to get the ball. And I'm thinking, what do they teach in the NFL? Like, what kind of craziness is this? And he goes, well, how do you snap the ball? And so I go, well, I just put my left hand on top. And a right-handed quarterback just puts his right hand on top. And there's no difference because the ball just snaps back. It's not because the ball is the same on both ends. And like, we had to snap it in slow motion to see it hit my hands. And then he goes, oh, okay, we're okay. We're okay. For a minute there, I thought, I don't know how to coach a left-handed quarterback. I've been stressing about this since you got drafted. And I'm like, well, you could have just asked me. So we worked through that thing. And so this whole thing with Ashton Jeanty, this will be fascinating to me. I know it's not a big deal, but maybe it is. I mean, if you've kind of been a player who's done it a certain way, and all of a sudden they're saying, do it a little different, could it throw off your mojo? Eric Dickerson had the most unique running style of anyone I think I've ever seen. Most running backs kind of run a little forward. They're ready for contact. They're ready to take a shot. They're ready to deliver a blow themselves. Not Eric Dickerson. Dude was like straight up. I mean, he looked like the guy in Chariots of Fire when he was finishing the race, where his head's all back and his arms are flailing and he's standing straight up. And Eric Dickerson ran different. He just ran different, looked different. And nobody changed him. He ran himself right into the Hall of Fame. So I love when coaches try to change how you play. And I think one of the big questions too about changing your style is a quarterback's throwing motion. And there's a new technique, or there's a new philosophy on how quarterbacks actually throw. And you look at Josh Allen actually has implemented this. It's an Aaron Rodgers kind of thing. It allows them to kind of throw in different ways, motions, how you release the ball. And so there's a lot of similarity in it. But the one thing, and someone made this comment, I don't think there's two similar throwing motions of anyone. I mean, like you could take Roger Staubach, and you can take Terry Bradshaw, you could take Fran Tarkington, kind of in that era. You could take Johnny Unitas, you could take Joe Namath, you could take all these players. And as I'm saying their names, I'm like, they all threw the ball differently. Like their motion was completely different. And then you kind of get into kind of the Elway, Montana, Marino, Jim Kelly, all of those guys, Steve Young, Troy Aikman. Nobody had the same motion. Tom Brady, no one in the world throws the ball like Tom Brady. No one. Like there's no quarterback motion. There's no one out there going, all right, when you grow up, you need to throw the ball like Tom Brady. No one throws it like him. And it was him. Like, it was his motion. And maybe more people should. I mean, the guy did win a bunch of Super Bowls. And so there's, Patrick Mahomes. And now all of them today. Joe Burrow. You could go through every quarterback today, and they all throw it very uniquely. Like, they're very, very uniquely in their style. And I know a lot of coaches actually A lot of coaches are like, look, don't mess with it. Now, I can speak for my own throwing motion. It evolved over time, and I think players, I think their motion to some degree evolves a little bit. I think it, but I think the core of it never changes. And why should it? The biggest thing about throwing motion is, does it stand up in pressure? That's my question all the time for a player. Like when they evaluate these players, and they go, you know, when the pressure's on, when they feel it, you know, there's tension in their body, there's whatever. Are they going to throw ducks? They're going to throw the ball in the ground. They're going to throw, you know, are they still going to maintain a high level of accuracy when the pressure's on? 10 out of 10 people will tell you the most important thing a quarterback has is accuracy. Like, because you don't want interceptions. You don't want, you need consistent effort. And it doesn't matter. However you get the ball, wherever, it does not matter. I mean, a guy who had an unusual delivery was Bernie Kosar. And I was like, I think a lot of people were, that guy was freaking accurate. He really was. I mean, he led Cleveland to like the 3 AFC championship. He's a great player at Miami. And he had a very unusual delivery, very unusual delivery. But it worked. It was effective because he was accurate. So I don't know, you know, hey, the guy stands up, the guy runs low, the guy does this, the guy delivers the ball from here to there, whatever. I don't know. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it happens. But I do know there's not a lot of messing with the quarterback motion. You work on stuff like that, refining and all that in the offseason. You guys work at it. I mean, everyone has their own quarterback coach, guru, whatever. But it's anyways, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And I think we might be getting Herman Moore. So Martin, if you want to give Herman Moore a call, I think he's going to get on the radio. And if he doesn't, that's fine. So John. The NFL is doing something crazy. And we're going to talk more about this, but they are allowing players, active players, to participate in flag football in the Olympics. And this is an insane idea. Like this is crazy. How they should do this. So they're like exempting the player. I mean, this is a 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles, and flag football is part of the Olympics. And John Harbaugh says, look, I got a quarterback who probably would be pretty good at the Olympics in flag football. And I would tend to agree with John, but he's like, I don't want my guy playing in the Olympics. He goes, I'm all about America. I'm all about all this stuff. But no, I don't want my guy to play. And I'm like, it's just flag football. Can you really get hurt at all like that? I don't know. I have no idea. Do we have Herman Moore on the phone? Oh, all right. Well, never mind then. So I think this is a fascinating proposition, and one that the NFL is totally on board with. They have this like focus. They have this commitment. The Olympics happens right in the middle of training camp. They're actually going to have like exemptions. They're going to cover insurance. They're going to do all these crazy things for these players so they can get involved in this. And part of it is to grow the game of football. The NFL believes flag football is the future of football in the world. And that's scary to me, just so you know, because you can't have the NFL turn into flag football. It's halfway there as it is. I understand it's a way to introduce. It's the introductory drug. It's the gateway drug, right? Flag football is the gateway drug to the NFL. That's the philosophy. And it has interest around the world. Like and flag football, let's face it, a little bit easier to implement, in some of your smaller countries in the world. Like apparently Austria has a really good flag football team and program, and you name it. There's a lot of me that says, this is a brilliant move by the NFL. Like they are like not a bad move. So we'll see, but I can't fathom like the superstars playing in the Olympics. Now, I wonder myself, like, would I want to do that? And to get out of training camp, yes, like sign me up. And I'm a quarterback, so it's not more than likely that I'm going to get injured. The other thing that you are at that point is you're great shape. So from being, because that's the problem when you play in these charity flag football games or you play in these alumni games, no one's in shape. And that's when everyone gets hurt. I ended up having 2 knee surgeries because of flag football games, and it was clearly because I was not in shape. So yeah, it could certainly be a detriment for sure. We have, but to have the opportunity to actually go and play in the Olympics and not only the Olympics, but in the United States, like in Los Angeles, like in the Coliseum that has hosted Olympics. Like there's nothing like the LA Coliseum as far as its prestige, as far as its notoriety, as far as its history. And to be able to participate in the sport that you love and you and you have an opportunity to represent your country. Man, I wouldn't pass it up. I would not pass it up at all. Okay. Last thing here on NFL news of note. There's this discussion about, so Simeon Rice, defensive end, played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The owner of the Bucs actually thinks that Simeon Rice is actually going to be a Hall of Famer. So the question is he a Hall of Famer? I think there's a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame that actually shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. If I went down the list of all the guys I don't think should be in the Hall of Fame, I think it's a reasonable list. I really do. I think it's really, I don't know. I think of a guy like Richmond Webb. So Richmond, offensive tackle, played for Miami Dolphins. He was on the list finally this year, and for years people have felt the same way about him. And so much of the NFL and being in the Hall of Fame, it's a voting committee, and it's sports writers, which I'm not really crazy about. And there's a whole committee. I mean, it goes through a whole process, but predominantly sports writers are a big part of you getting in, and so it's kind of their perception of you. The best people to tell if you made it in the Hall of Fame are the people your contemporaries, people you played against. I had a discussion about Leroy Butler, who ended up in the Hall of Fame. I thought Leroy Butler was one of the best safeties ever played against. It was phenomenal. Steve Atwater, tremendous. Another guy doesn't get a lot of talk is Benny Blades. I played with Benny, and he was a tremendous player. All right, let's take a break, and we come back. Oh man, we got conspiracy, we got dead dynasties in the NBA. We might have Herman Moore. This is Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell here on ESPN 791 FM. Hey, sports fans, welcome back. It is the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell here on ESPN 792.1 FM. So glad you could be a part of the show. So glad you could join us. Fun stuff, always fun, always fun. Speaking of fun, we have none other than the amazing, incredible, talented, all-pro, one of the greatest wide receivers in NFL history. Herman Moore joins us on the program. Herman, welcome to the Down and Dirty. How you doing today?
Hey, I appreciate it. How you doing, Scott? Hey, man, I don't pay you enough to give me those accolades and to talk so highly about me. So I gotta up your paycheck, man.
Well, I'm happy to take any paycheck you want to give me, but we try to give it to you the down and dirty on the show. So I only speak the truth. Look, you're as good as anyone who's ever played the game, and it was an honor, a privilege. It was a wonderful experience being teammates together and continuing to be friends to this day. So you're my man. So anyways, welcome to the show.
I appreciate it. No, thank
you. All
right,
listen.
And that's one thing. Let me just say this real quick before you get started. I have to tell people, whether you agree or disagree with Scott Mitchell, I always appreciate you always spoke your mind. That's what matters. Authenticity. So go ahead, brother.
Well, I got that from my mom. She was not shy about, and she would speak her mind to me too. When she's like, Scott, yeah, you're not really doing a good job right now. So I can appreciate that. This is a fascinating development that's happened recently with the NFL. Okay, so the NFL has agreed to allow players to play on the flag football team in the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. So much so that they've give exemptions to the players because it's going to happen right in the middle of training camp. And they're even going to pay for the insurance in the event that a player is injured. Okay, how do you feel about this? Is this something that you would entertain as a player? And is like, is flag football? Is it a real sport? Could you feel good about winning a gold medal if it was just flag football?
No, I'm sorry. I hate to. Really.
It's the Olympics.
I think it's perfect for kids. I think it's perfect for an entry level into the sport of football. But really, what's the skill there? Be honest, right? Like I guess maybe it's more inclusive. You let more people get involved who perhaps can't play at that other level. And I'm not saying that to be coy, and I'm not saying that to say that people who play flag football aren't talented. But I just think at some point it's like the Olympic has a lot of sports. So is it just getting more viewership? Is it getting more people from a national level to be engaged in the sport of football? I think there's an expansion that happens with the NFL. You can just see that already with what they're doing with expanding and playing games overseas. So we know that there's a global effect and there's a global market that the NFL has from a fan base. So now they're trying to also bring that to those other countries and cultures, which is cool. I appreciate it. But, flag football,
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Like, the NFL has made a huge push for flag football. And they've even come out and said, we believe flag football is the future. And maybe they
more money.
I guess, and because that whole expansion thing is so I guess greedy or important to the NFL. They're trying to figure out how does World Cup soccer just dominate everything, and we believe our sport is the best thing that's ever been invented, and so they're expanding the schedule for teams to go over and play. They're in Brazil, Mexico, I believe Spain, England. Did you ever play in a game overseas in your career?
You know what, I want to say yes. And we played the Dallas Cowboys over in London, and it was a nice experience. I love the fact that the actual game itself and this authenticity goes over and it plays in these different countries. It's no different than basketball, baseball. You get all these other sports that have become very international, and you bring in a lot of people because the world's talented, right? This is talent isn't exclusive to just a country. It's a global component. But only thing I say is this: if you watch flag football, I get it. Right, the kids, I love watching the kids play it. There's a without the risk and the fear of learning and growing and being exposed to the sport, it makes sense. But when it gets over there, I mean, really, what's the skill set? I mean, you know what I mean? Like
Nah,
I understand what football is. It's 7-on-7. It's got some other parts to it, but I just don't see that being anything other than you try and put a lot of high names together. You go over, you play a sport. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't. I don't get flag football in terms of at the Olympic level. That's just me. That's my opinion. Like it, don't like
have
it,
you
doesn't
ever played?
matter.
Have you ever played in like a charity flag football game or an alumni flag
No,
football game? Do they do that at
no,
Virginia?
no interest. I have no interest in it. No,
None whatsoever.
you know what? It's not going to appeal to me because from a competitive people who if you played the game and then you play flag football, it's two different things. Either you're going to like flag football or you're not. Right? That's like 3-on-3 in basketball. It's not 5-on-5 in the NBA. It's different.
I actually,
But,
yeah,
no,
I actually watched an event where they had NFL players playing these. So it was like the flag football championship, and these flag football players just destroyed NFL play. Like it is a different game. It's not the same technique. It's not the same. It's a different game, and it doesn't necessarily translate if you're really athletic or really talented or really good in the NFL. It's a very different game. So
everything appeals to different people. So I'm not going to dump on it or anything like that,
Yeah.
man, and just talk down on it. But it's like it doesn't appeal to me personally. Because of the type of competitor I am. And I'm not saying it's not a competitive piece. It's got its piece. But like I said, I see it more in an amateur place. I see it more in a place where it's a great learning piece for kids, for those who are getting into the game, learning the basics. But, you know, if you do it in the right way to where it has I guess now it has a high end to it, an apex, which is you can go to the Olympics, right? You can aspire to be an Olympic flag football player every 4 years.
See, I think I might want to play. I'll just and only from the
as a
standpoint
quarterback,
of getting a gold
you
medal. That's it.
Okay.
I just want a gold medal.
My man, come on, man. We you gonna be running around saying, "Hey, man, I got this." Unless you're gonna go and start running flag football camp, that's the only reason that medal gonna come in handy. And you start a flag football something. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think I'd do it now, but I don't know. I might consider because it is during training camp. How much did you enjoy training camp? Like, what did you survive training camp? Did you thrive in training camp? Like, this training camp's long, it's boring, it's forever. What was your take on training camp? Because you get out of training camp to go play in the Olympics, just so you know that.
Well, I mean, I would do that. That's a free vacation during the heightened part of the season, depending on how much you're into your craft. You know, if you're looking at flag football versus trying to win a Super Bowl, I think you're going to make a decision on the risk versus reward. And I don't think if you're a high level player, you're gonna give that up necessarily for a gold medal in flag football when you're trying to get a Super Bowl ring. They're not the same. I mean, not when it comes to the same sports. I get it. You can get, a lot of people get Olympic gold medals for different things. And some of the sports, if you look at it, 90% of it, I don't think most of us watch. You have to be drawn to it because it's a very niche-based piece. If you're track and field, you're track and field. You're probably not going to watch, archery or something like that. And it doesn't mean that one's better than the other. It just means that it's a different appeal. So I don't know, man. That's a tough one. And you talk about training camp. I mean, it's really you trade one vacation for another one. I know the guys get mad when I say this because all you're doing, it's not. I've seen some of those camps, man. They're not. That ain't real training camp. I've been to real training camp. That's not training camp. I don't see any guys getting broken up and beat down and 2 days and dehydration and all that. I see a lot of guys laughing on the sideline, waiting to take pictures and get on their social channels when it's over. Come on, man.
So, okay, as I am today,
people are like, man, this guy just needs to go sit down.
no, it's very different. Like the whole pace of the NFL is very. I remember hearing about Dan Camp. He had to apologize to his team because he made him tackle during training camp, and he's like, "You need to understand that I'm doing this for your own good. I'm doing this so that you don't get hurt later on. I just thought that was kind of funny. He had to apologize and explain to his team how physical the game had to be in order to be physical in the game. But
I like the way they go about training camp now, though. To be honest with you, all jokes
oh,
aside, it's just preservation of your players. I think it gives you let your key players, your teams come in with the best opportunity to succeed and have a competitive season. And I think dialing it back is also given longevity and preserved the after effect that football to a lot of these players. So it's a good deal. It's a good thing to kind of ease off of it because it was brutal when we did it.
yeah.
But now having the opportunity to do that, and I will say this in all tongue in cheek, man, going over and having an opportunity to do anything with the Olympics is a great thing because you're representing your country. And having said that, I think showing up on a national scale, representing us in any sport, regardless of what it is a great feat for anyone.
So how far was too far with training camp? Like where did we go over the line in training camp? What was too much?
Well, in hindsight, what I look at where there's a lot of problems with just not training camp, but our era. And that was, you had to play through injury. You had to play with some of the worst parts that really sometimes never heal because you never gave an opportunity to reset or heal the body. And even in training camp, you played through injuries. You were forced and you were really hurried back to get back to what versus just trying to get healed. So training camp, there wasn't really anything there to be necessarily won versus your endurance, your repetition, going in and really understanding the playbook, putting in all of your assignments and having everybody just be really ready to play. I don't think that was managed quite the same way. It was just too competitive in the preseason that led to a lot of injuries that were unnecessary. I think that in some instances hurt many players, especially some of your key players in multiple teams.
There's about 11% of the team, or 11 of the teams, I should say, not 11%, but 11 teams actually have stadiums that are climate controlled. And so much of the game, talking about health and longevity, and you and I both know that the Silver Dome was no picnic to play in. It was no picnic to practice in either. But do you think that should be kind of a mandatory thing across the league where they're basically just going to eliminate weather, even if it's a place that is warm weather where maybe it's raining or maybe it's too hot, like a place in Florida or something like that, and should that be a mandatory thing with all teams in the NFL that their stadiums should all be indoor and they should all be on grass? Or do you like the artificial turf?
Well, that's a tough question. I was thinking I could answer that pretty easily, but think of it like this: from a competitive standpoint, there's elements that, as if like anyone, if you play in a certain terrain, you play in a certain condition, you play on a certain field, you start to know it. It becomes kind of an asset. It becomes kind of an advantage. If everything you standardize and now you have climate control, or everyone's got kind of the same things, yeah, you level the playing field in terms of the environment. But I think there's something to it. I like the personality of going to the different places and having to deal with, I'm old school, dealing with the heat or dealing with the elevation, dealing with, bad stadium lights, the surface that we had when we went to Philly, and stuff like that, or people came into the dome and you didn't have all the accommodations. It's almost like you just blue collar, and so if you came from a place that you were basically pampered, you weren't going to get that with the amenities that we had sometimes. So, I don't know. I think there's something you can make a case for both. I would have loved to have played in sunshine weather and Bermuda grass all the time and nice weather versus playing on the AstroTurf. But the turf did give you some advantages other than the turf burns.
And it burns.
Lose part of your body,
it's the real thing.
Skin.
Yeah. All of us have body parts actually still in what used to be the Silver Dome. There's literal parts of our skin that are still there. That was brutal
all day.
Well, I don't know if you were see, I just you have the Raiders and they have the grass on their stadium, SoFi. has grass. I don't know if you remember when they had the World Cup in Detroit that one year, and they brought like grass in, and we actually played a preseason game on grass, and I'm like, wow, this is because I like I'm with you. I could the Bermuda grass, warm weather would be ideal, and it was my first 4 years in Miami going to practice in November and December, and it was still warm and it was comfortable, and that was just a really nice thing. And you're pretty bundled up in Detroit. Do you like? I just really think that I could live in a dome if they had grass. And they told us you can actually grow grass inside. It's not like you're incapable of it. And I would imagine today it's a lot better. I don't know. Seems like grass inside is a bad deal.
That might get into dollars and cents. You start. It's pretty self-maintenance with some of the other turf other than painting the lines. The other one, when you got to have some upkeep and add some money, you start getting into the pockets of the owners. I don't know, man. They might get a little pushback on that one. That's another burn. That's another expense.
All right, I don't feel sorry for any of these owners today. I mean, those franchises, it's insane.
They listen, man. They need all kind of breaks they can get. They're not making any money. That's why they have to keep giving all this money to the players.
Well, I know Jed York, who's owner of the 49ers, he sold 6% of his team. We did the math on it, and he pocketed about, I don't know, about $600 million just by giving up. So there's ways that they could raise some money. I mean, they could have a bake sale. They could have they could have a charity flag football event and raise money so they could grow grass inside in a stadium. How about that?
Hey, man, the only thing I could afford is I could probably afford to own the mascots. Maybe I can own the mascots. Maybe I start a mascot league or something, man. The stadium, I don't have $600 million. It happens to be floating around. Maybe I could start. I don't know. I got to figure out something else I could do.
So I know you well, but I don't know this about you, and this was a question that was burning in my mind. Who is your sports hero when you were growing up? I don't know who that is.
Oh man, it would have to be probably one of the dudes from the hood that that was one of those guys. I mean, think about it, man. I didn't come from organized sports at the level that a lot of these other people where they had travel teams, they had the dual parent household, and so on and so forth. So you played with the people who are around you. So my sports figures who were more realistic and accessible were the people were the older, teenagers, the older or younger people, younger adults in my neighborhood. So I would say it'd be, some of those who didn't make it, right? We see some of the most talented people in our neighborhoods who never made it out, but we had adulation for them. We looked up to them because they were athletic. They were cream of the crop in high school and in their sport and those type of things. And that was more appealing and it seemed more realistic to us. So I wouldn't say it was anybody necessarily on TV. Looking at those individuals, that just seemed far reaching. So right. I would say it would be the guys I was around every day.
I did not know that about you. That's an interesting perspective because I had my heroes, and stuff like that, and but I also grew up, I grew up in a small town, and you didn't have exposure to that, but I don't know. I just always loved football, and like Roger Staubach was a big fan of mine. I was a big fan of his when I was growing up. I like it. All right.
Yeah, so you had TV, man. So I had the antenna thing, man, and just trying to figure out if I can get something to show up, man. So it was easier to just go outside and see a real person than to look at all that static on my TV.
Oh man. Okay. I'm going to transition to kind of a serious topic here. Hockey player Mark Sheffley, his father passed away, and he still continued to play, and he scored a goal in a playoff game a few days ago. And I brought up this topic on my show the other day, and it was like, if you were confronted with the loss of a loved one, would you play in a sport like considering that it's your livelihoods? How would you respond to that? Would you still want to play? Would you not want to play? How do you feel about for you personally?
Well, first I mean, a lot of people handle grief differently. And when I was playing, my dad got diagnosed with prostate cancer and ended up passing near the latter part of my career, doing it in season. And didn't say a whole lot about it. I didn't make a big thing about it, and I kept playing. But everyone's different. And if it were me, I mean, I think I would probably keep playing. And not of course if it was on the same day and some certain arrangements and things of that nature had to be made. But if it's I think the person wants you to probably keep going. It depends on what kind of relationship you had. And for me, I know the people around me, they would want me to continue on without disruption. And so I know I would probably take more of that stance. Would it be heavy and hard to do? Yes. Would it be emotional? Yes. I don't think it would be necessarily a distraction as much as you just feel the loss and the sorrow and the hurt, But it's unfortunate that anyone would have to make that type of a decision because there's obviously there's no win in that. That's either way. That's a tough loss.
All right. So if you could have one feat in sports and on a professional level, what do you think would give you the most excitement? What do you think would be the one thing that would actually cause you to have the greatest celebration? So here they are. Scoring a touchdown, hitting a home run. These are all professional. So Major League home run, NFL touchdown, slam dunk in the NBA, a hole-in-one in golf, or a goal in hockey. Of those 5 things, which one, if you could do any one of those, which one would actually give you the most like they'd really get you juiced?
Hey, first of all, man, you talking to an athlete, man. I've done 50% or more of those already. So
I understand, right? I know, but I'm talking like in a professional game. I'm not talking about like.
I'm an athlete, man. Come on, man. I already had a hole in one in golf. I didn't slam dunk. I went over to Phoenix Center and slam dunk.
Hold on a second. You've had a hole in one in golf. This is not miniature golf. This is like real golf.
No, par 3. Oh yeah. But it wasn't a big deal because I'm an athlete. I expect that kind of stuff. I went and did win a slam dunk contest against some of the better athletes, right? I scored.
No, I know you can, but I'm talking to you like slamming over Shaquille O'Neal.
Listen, man, the miracle is getting me on ice skates on some blades and just being able to skate across the arena to even be able to score a goal would be a miracle in itself. So I would say that would be my greatest feat.
All right. I like it.
just that balance. All the other stuff, those are pretty pedestrian.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry I bored you with my question. Hey, so the baseball, you could hit a baseball.
I could if I would stand in front of a 100-mile-an-hour pitch, but I'm not stupid enough to do that.
All right.
That's one thing because listen, man. I come from the hood. You hit me with that ball. That's everything. It's not gonna be over till it's over. Forget about the game.
It's on.
It's on. All right. Come on, man. Hit me with a baseball. It's not gonna beam me. Come on, man.
I gotta run, Herman. Thanks for coming on the air. Always a pleasure. Hope you have a great day.
All right. See you at the Olympics, Scott.
I'll throw it to you. All right, there you have it. Herman Moore, former NFL great wide receiver. This is the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell here on ESPN 792.1 FM. Alrighty, sports fans, welcome back. It is the Down and Dirty here with Scott Mitchell. On fun chatting with Herman. He's a good dude, and he's actually an intelligent guy. I know you can't tell that by the interview. No, I'm just kidding. Herman's a great guy. Always love catching up with Mr. Moore. Mitchell to Moore equals score. That's what they used to say. And we scored a lot of touchdowns. Hey, it's ESPN's Festival of Tees, powered by the Utah Golf Association. Each day, ESPN 700. Giving away rounds of golf from the best courses in the state. Listen to the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell from 11 to 12. That's me. And the Sean O'Connell Show from 11 to, listen to me from 10 to 11, not 11 to 12. The Sean O'Connell Show from 11 to 2. And the Drive with Spence Checketts from 2 to 6 for your chance to win each day from ESPN 700. All you got to do is text a special word to 877-353-0700 to play at Glendale today for one round of 18 holes. The secret word is the open. Text the open, 877-353-0700 to win. All right. I came across this funny story, and it's of course, Utah Jazz fans will raise the hair on your necks when I tell you this story. If it's too much for you, turn away from the radio right now before I share this with you, because it might make you upset. Apparently, Shaquille O'Neal believes there may be possibly some validity to the draft lottery shenanigans. There may be a conspiracy with, how certain teams end up with certain picks. And I believe it. I believe that they put weight, they do something, they manipulate the ping pong balls, and they know if we manipulate them in a certain way, we rub the Mississippi mud on the side of the ping pong ball, gives it a little bit of extra spin, and or it knuckle balls out of the thing. That's what happens. I'm not saying it does or it doesn't, but Shaquille O'Neal actually thinks it might. He recently recanted a story. Recanted? Was that like, or he told a story about when he met with Commissioner David Stern before he was drafted, I believe in 1992. And they're just chit-chatting, small chat. And the commissioner asks Shaquille, he says, hey, where would you like to play? Hot or cold weather? And Shaquille says, hot. And of course, Shaquille O'Neal ends up in Orlando, Florida, which, by the way, is a hot place. Like, literally, it's hot. And he says, I never really thought a whole lot about it at that time. And then I started to see some of the, abnormalities of the draft lottery and how some of these players end up wherever they end up. And it kind of made me wonder, maybe there is more to this. I mean, if you're the NBA and you're trying to really promote your league, trying to build the brand, and everyone knows that sports leagues are built, the brand is the players. So if you can get the best players, the biggest names in the biggest markets, that's just simple arithmetic. That's a simple solution to this problem of marketing and promoting, your best teams. Maybe it's not so relevant today. Maybe we're just so global and we're not so regionalized in how we think or who we are. And I say that because of Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. They seem to have, they're doing a pretty good job. They weren't. Of course, winning is a magical thing. But you have to wonder, if you're a Utah Jazz fan, how in the heck did that draft lottery end up the way that it did? Like something is stirring in the water. Something just doesn't seem right. Something does not pass the sniff meter, the BS meter. It just It's not adding up here, folks. And even Shaquille O'Neal is certainly a person who thinks that might be a reality. So I mean, here's and why did teams get rewarded for doing just the absolute stupidest thing in the world? Like getting rid of Luka. That was dumb. Now, had they maybe kept him, maybe they have a different position and maybe they're not even in a position to be in the lottery at that time. Who knows what happened? I don't know. Anyways, that's all we have for today. Conspiracy theories abound. Flag football in the Olympics. The world is upside down right now. So tune into the Down and Dirty every day, and we'll make it right for you. Sean O'Connell show's next. This is the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell on ESPN 792.1 FM. Until then, we'll see you then.